Whew, okay. Workout today, I've took my dog on a walk for 30 minutes. Just rode for 40 minutes, and then I am going to do a HIIT workout of as many rounds as possible of a 400-meter row, 8 reps on deadlift at 135, 5 knee tucks, and then 10 reps on dumbbell bench press using 30-pound weights. My elbow is a little janky. If it starts acting up, I'll switch to 10 reps on dumbbell flies for chest, and I'll use 20-pound weights. And I'm only rowing every other round. Rosie's very clingy right now. We all know what that means. This week, I said I wanted to focus more on recovery and what that looks like, what it's been like for me. Recovery is definitely something that takes a lot of work. It's not easy by any means. It's hard. It requires you looking in at yourself and looking at the mess that you've tried to hide from. All the times you cleaned your room as a kid, at least for me, and by cleaning your room, that meant just shoving everything under the bed and making my bed so the blanket hung off the edge. That's what my life has been like, just shoving everything under. And then recovery in my mind is looking under the bed to see all the mess that's down there. All the things that you forgot that happened, all the things you forgot you had, everything that you've gone through is under the bed, and you have to work on cleaning it out. I always spent so much time just trying to hide from what I've done and the things that I've experienced. Forgot a lot of things were down there. You know, when I first started in Mendocino, the recovery program, talked a lot about understanding your emotions and seeing where you're at. Honestly, that's been the building block for me. Understanding where I'm at emotionally, what I'm feeling and experiencing in that moment, instead of like, hey, I'm angry and frustrated right now, I just need to go do something to get my mind off of it. It took me to a place of, hey, I'm angry and frustrated. What's causing this anger and frustration? What is making me feel angry? And then getting to the root cause of that. Honestly, that's been a huge part of keeping me sober for as long as I have been. With the recovery part of it, though, it's understanding more of not where am I at currently, but why do I do things the way that I do them? Is there a reason why I feel like everyone's speaking down to me, like everyone is judging me? Is there a reason why why I turned to pornography and masturbation? Because there's things that happened in our lives that cause us to act the way that we do. My therapist calls trauma like big T trauma and little t trauma. Big T trauma are things that change how we fundamentally think. These are experiences that we have affect our value system, how we think, what we believe. Little T trauma can be things that are just like my dad wasn't home a lot growing up, and I miss out on a lot of things, and from him not being there, a lot of those things could be little T trauma. Things that are hard experiences, but that don't necessarily change how we think. What I've done for my recovery, a few really big things is, one, learning about emotions. Second thing that I've done is recognizing that I'm not on my own. I'm on a team. That I have other players on my team with me, coaches, things like that. People that are there that are willing to support me. For such a long time, I thought I've always been alone, and that's not the case. My wife is very supportive of me. Her family's really supportive of me. I have my groups that I'm a part of. My therapist, one of my brothers that I'm really close with. So that's my team. That's my support system. God, he's a huge part of my recovery. And your support system, your team, could be anyone, someone that you can trust, someone that can hold your pain, that you can talk to about things, that isn't going to judge you, tell you you're doing everything wrong. The third thing I've done has been, seeing my therapist, processing those big T and little T trauma experiences that I had as a kid, because those are the things that pushed me to going to an addiction. And your addiction could be anything. What caused you to go to that addiction? Those are things that need to be reprocessed or processed at all. And honestly, having someone who's specialized in sexual addiction and trauma has been a huge part in working through that. Regardless of whether you're in a recovery group, addiction recovery programs, I would highly suggest seeing a counselor or therapist, somebody that's specialized in what you've gone through. I've been doing EMDR therapy as well. That's a specialized kind of therapy that helps reprocess memories. And recovery is it's hard. Some of my EMDR sessions last 2 to 3 hours, and it is hard because, like I said, I've spent so much time shoving things under the bed because I don't want to see it again. I don't want to feel those things, but to have those brought back up and process through those, it takes it from being like a place I don't want to go to, like a memory that I don't want to feel again, to an experience where, I know it hurt. Like, that experience was hard, but I have more neutral feelings towards it now because it's been processed. I've worked on several things from my parents and my childhood growing up, and I can look back on those experiences now as they were hard. Those things were really hard to go through, but I'm at a point now with therapy where it's it's okay. It's not the end of the world, and it's something where, if needed to, I can go back and revisit that memory. I won't feel like going and acting out. I won't feel like going and looking at pornography. And it's hard to put to words how much it affects you, being able to reprocess those things, how much lighter it feels because your body holds on to it. There's so many benefits to doing recovery work. Another part of recovery work is doing self-care, taking care of yourself. Running especially, I started looking forward to it, and that helped a lot. I asked my groups that I'm in, where I have a text chat, and interesting to see, ask them what they thought the difference between recovery and sobriety was, and everyone pretty much agreed on sobriety. Is it being just a period of time that you haven't acted out or participated in your addiction? But recovery had a few different answers. Mainly though, they all had a core theme of progressing, because if you're sober but you're not progressing, you're not improving on yourself, you're not improving in that aspect of your life, you're just white knuckling it, holding on to dear life to not act out again, and eventually you will always fall back into it. I can't tell you how many times I've tried to not look at pornography throughout my life, and it was a lot of the times just white knuckling it, hey, I gotta do it. And most of the time I'd make it a week or two, so a couple times I made it a few months, but honestly, this past year's been so much, I'm not really going to say easier, but more manageable, because I've actually been doing recovery work. I've been trying to solve the issues that I had growing up and understanding myself and what's actually driving me towards pornography. Several people mentioned that recovery involves God, and I would agree with that. I have a very strong belief in God and a testimony of Him and of Jesus Christ. And I know that God has helped me in my recovery journey. I know that Christ did suffer for everything that I've gone through, so that I can truly progress, so that I can reprocess those things and move on. And I'm just going to touch briefly here on the atonement of Jesus Christ. That atonement, that sacrifice that Christ gave for me, allows me to change. I hear a lot of people say that, just give your burdens, your issues, your whatever you're going through to God, to Christ, and they can take it away because of the atonement. But I believe that they don't take it away, but they give us the ability to work through those things. I think we have to work through it ourselves, but we're not alone working through it. Like I said, we have a team, and God is on that team. He's always there to help work through whatever you need. I know that I am able to change because of Christ, because of the sacrifice that He made for me. And so progression, and honestly I think recovery is more than just progressing at your emotional state and the working through the trauma you've had, but improving in all areas of life. Because after, like, when you start doing recovery work, you're not going to be able to go back to the normal that you had before. If you do go back to the normal you had before, you're going to fall back into the same habits that you had before. So you have to create a new normal for yourself. Bye, Rosie. You have to create a new normal. The life that Kiara and I have, my wife, the life that we have together is completely different than what it used to be. And that's because we're both different people. She's done her therapy. She's done her recovery work on the betrayal trauma side of things, and trauma that she had as a teenager and growing up. And I definitely don't want to go back to the old me, to the old normal. I want something new. I want something better. I wouldn't be able to have that without recovery, without doing the work, without taking care of myself, without connecting with God and other people that are fighting the same fight that I am. It's motivating to see other men strive to improve their lives and to recover and to stay sober, because we're all fighting for the same thing, for our lives. Because addiction takes away your life. It takes away any sense of humanity that you have. Addiction takes away being able to connect with your spouse, with your kids, with your family, with your friends. I know my life's better because of the addiction that I've had. Not because of the addiction itself, but because of what it drove me to do the recovery work, to improve myself and progress. And I wouldn't trade having my addiction because of the people I've been able to meet and the things I've been able to learn. Those have been worth going through my addiction. Don't want to stay in my addiction though, that sounds awful. I'm glad that I've done the recovery work. It's been hard, but it's totally worth it. And I know it feels lonely at times, and if any of you are ever struggling with an addiction or the feelings of self-doubt and worry, you can overcome those things. It's your choice. It's a hard choice to make, but it's your choice. Hopefully you enjoy this next part of us smashing the crap out of some old furniture that we're not taking with us on our move. It was a ton of fun, and I would highly suggest all of you smash the crap out of some furniture that you don't use or need anymore. Okay. I'm so excited.